Welcome to West Coast Women Rising. I'm Jeja Flizanes, and join with me today is Cecelia Settem. Welcome to the
Hello.
show, Cecelia.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to learn a little bit more about you. I know I've met you in person several times at some of the local meetings, and so I'm excited to learn about your story and how you got to be doing what you're doing now. So, where do you want to start?
I guess maybe starting by talking about my corporate.
So, you started in corporate before you started your own business.
Yes, I
Okay,
was an
great.
executive assistant for 15 years. I was at one company for 10 years, and then I did temp jobs as an executive assistant at different locations, trying to figure out what I was going to do next before falling into this career that I just kind of took a leap.
Well, you just said you fell into it. So, what was the scenario? What was the pivotal moment that you fell?
I fell when I got a call telling me I could do both work and go to school at the same time. And that just kind of gave me the opportunity. I've always wanted to do beauty, and this was an esthetician program where it just happened to be their first night class in many, many years. And it just so happened that I was available, and I took a leap.
Did you get encouraged by your company or your boss or your family or your friends?
No, they were a little worried about me taking this detour because they assumed that it would lead to me leaving.
Well, let's talk about the executive assistant idea. So, what did you have dreams and goals when you were a little girl? I mean, I can say most people don't necessarily say, I want to be an executive assistant. So I'm not right. But we fall into things like I didn't grow up thinking I want to be a personal trainer. I mean, where I am now, I had no idea I'd get here. Right. So like the path that we take, but we take jobs or roles in order to pay the bills or go to school or be able to, like I was an actress. So I was doing personal training on the side and waiting tables. No, I don't think anyone grows up and says I want to wait a table unless your family owns the restaurant. And there's no disrespect for any of those professions. But what was your goal like when you were little? Because now you're in the beauty industry. Were you the kid that, played with your dolls and wanted to put makeup on everybody or spent time with your hairbrush or, loved all the products? Tell me a little bit about like the connection for this class and then sort of where you started when you were younger.
Well, when I was younger, I started by doing makeup on my friends. I'd love to do makeup, and that's kind of how I started in the makeup game and just floating through. I I started working. For me, work was just something you did. Not so much enjoying it. If you enjoyed it, that's great, but you do. And that's kind of how I was raised, that I had a job since I was 13 years old, part-time after school programs and stuff like that. But I definitely learned that I needed to always have a job. So actually, the place I started at before I became an executive assistant, I was a receptionist. That's how I started. And it just turned into going through executive assistant after executive assistant after executive assistant. And then the question was asked, hey, would you like the position? And me, I said, for more money? Absolutely, I'm there. And then I did the job. And then I was like, oh, okay, okay. I feel like I am dedicated when I do my job. Like I put my whole heart into it. My boss would always say, don't take it personally. I'm like, no, I take it personally because I put everything that I am into what I do. So if it didn't happen right, I'm upset with myself because I didn't reach the potential that I should have.
So it sounds like, yeah, the work ethic. My dad has really good, both my parents have really good work ethic. So it's like you do your job, you do the right thing, you make a living, you save money, you pay everything on time, you pay your taxes. So what happened when you decided you're going to go to school and like how did your family react to you kind of branching out?
My husband was excited. He was excited for me. He was like, this sounds like a great adventure for you. Maybe this is your purpose. And then maybe you'll be happy with where you're at instead of going from temp job to temp job, trying to figure out how to be a better executive assistant. I was deciding that I wanted to try something completely different and completely new from that corporate.
So now you're in school and tell me about school and working a job at the same time. Were you thinking that you were going to come out of school and do this part-time or were you pretty sure you were going to leap into having your own business?
I was pretty sure I was going to do it part-time. Because I knew I had a sister-in-law and several friends who are beauticians or cosmetologists, sorry, and they, had a challenging time building a clientele. So I assumed it was going to be a side hustle, hopefully that I could jump into, but definitely more of a side hustle than an actual career.
And now,
And now it's the only thing I want to do. I love it so much. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do it, to make people feel better, to look better. And it's just, it just makes me so happy every day.
that's exactly what I think all of us do it for, is right, the freedom and the joy of doing something that you love and then finding a way to make a living at it versus doing the opposite of making a living and being miserable and then wondering when you're going to get the chance to do something that you like. And so you took that leap of faith, which is great. And I'm so glad to hear your husband was on board with that. So many times, I mean, I have a current client now. Well, she was in a couple masterminds of mine, and I'm pretty sure that her husband does not support her. And she feels a little controlled and overwhelmed and had to sell. Anyway, just it's not a good situation. And at least with Doug, we shared stuff together and he knows the situation and he's as upset as I was. I'm like, this is the wrong choice. Like, because too many people are sick and unhappy and unhealthy and anxious and depressed because they're not living their zone of genius or their dharma. They're not living joy. They're not doing exactly what they want to do. The things that light them up seem to be hobbies, or other people don't take them seriously. And in an economy and in a world where we're so forced to think about being smart and do the right thing and be financially responsible, well, you can all, you know what, people, we could all die tomorrow. You don't know. I'm not saying be irresponsible, but remember that for what? Like for what? I know I could not be unhappy. I have a very low tolerance for unhappy. So, so for you to jump out and to do this and to have a supportive husband, that's amazing. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your business and all the different services that you provide for people?
Oh, absolutely. So my business is Crowns and Hearts. It's a boutique spa. I'm inside of a salon, Ash Street North, and I provide facials, waxing, lashes, nails, and massage. I love performing every single one of these. So I am and I have regular clients for each individual. I'm a Gemini, so I like to do everything and change what I want to do, and it still brings me joy.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to get to ask you what your sign was. So now that you're a Gemini, I could have said, yeah, beauty would have been in your wheelhouse from the get-go. I've known many Gemini girl children who, steal their mother's boots and earrings when they're really young because they want to dress up like mom right away. They want the makeup, they want the earrings, they want the sparkle. It's definitely a Gemini trait. So that's awesome. And so you love it all, you love doing it all. And where are you located?
I'm located in downtown Ventura.
Right. Okay, great. And do you work solo in that salon? Like, so do you rent a space or do you have other people that work with you?
I rent a space for my aesthetics and my massage, and then I also rent a station for my nails, which I share with one of my friends that I brought in because, it's brand new and we wanted to split rent. And because we're building clients for this particular business, and I am one to bring people in and share as opposed to feeling competitive or anything like that. I, want to help people as much as I can in any situation.
What do you think makes you different in the different services? So, I have used many, 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 many massage therapists and acupuncturists and all kinds of, and sometimes when I was a trainer in Los Angeles and in Orange County and even in Ventura County, I would always work with someone close to the clients that I was working with because I used to drive to the clients. And so, or one of my trainers. And so I would find practitioners in the area that could service those clients. So I would work with a lot of different people, and how I would describe them would help me decide like who I would refer them to. Like if somebody needed this kind of person, then I would refer them to them. So how would you describe yourself in some of your services that makes you different or unique?
I guess for me, I feel like my services are result driven, but from the heart. Everything is kind of a ritual when it comes to facials and massage. I just feel like I have not a routine, rather a connection with the body where I'm always doing something different. but I'm also listening to what the body wants and needs. And, one massage is going to be completely different from another massage because it's what the body specifically needs. And I love the customization that I'm able to do both in aesthetics, in lashes, in massage, in nails, so that each individual feels like this is just for them. And that's what I want them to feel. I want them to feel comfortable, home, listened to, and cared for.
Beautiful. Do you happen to know your moon sign?
Sagittarius, I
Okay,
believe.
me too. Me too. Cool. So just curious. I won't ask for the rest of the chart at this stage of the game, but so I get that, and so it sounds like very intuitive. Like you have your sort of set of toolbox in your tools, and then you have a person, and then the body presents itself, and then you sort of intuitively feel into what it needs, and you pull out the right tool for the right time for the right person. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What about in the facial department in terms of some of the offerings? Are there general facials? Because I know, I mean, gosh, there's so many kinds of facials that are out there now. And I don't know how many of them that you do or specialize in. I was working with someone locally here in Ojai who then left. She moved. So I had to find someone else. And she did my waxing and my facials. So that became really, I had to find somebody really fast. And I've tried a couple different people around here, but I'd love to hear kind of how you do facials differently or some of the things on your menu.
Yeah, so on my menu, I do a basic customized facial. I do 30-minute for anybody who just wants to get in and out, a 60-minute for my customized facial. A 90-minute really is more fluff. It's more massage, it's more ritual based, and we spend more time on, I call it fluff, but it's really about the person and the energies connecting. And I also do nano channeling, I do microcurrent, I do LED, I do hydrodermabrasion. I use radio frequency. I use ultrasound. I use most of these tools I use in my regular facials if that's what the client needs. I do higher services like my nano channeling is slightly different.
Can you talk
That's
about that? Because I don't know what that is. Can you explain
Okay,
what that is?
so it's like micro channeling, but nano channeling, it's more it's tinier. It doesn't go in as deep as in micro channeling. It's in California, I can't go past the very first layer. So nano channeling allows me to do micro channeling and allow penetration of product better. It helps to making those little pricks will bring more blood flow and stimulation to produce collagen and elastin production.
Like
And
microneedling?
yes,
Got it. Okay. So nanochanneling is kind of like microneedling.
exactly. It's just less invasive.
Got it. Okay. Cool. And so definitely have a lot to offer, a lot of different products and services and ways to handle what you have in front of you with whatever their goals are. Let's back up to the people that are possibly listening to this. Not only may they be local in Ventura County, they also may be international, and hopefully they're mostly women. And if you're not, we welcome you as men too. But what would you say to the people out there that are where you were? They're thinking about starting their own business. What would your advice be to someone who's new, who's wanting to just sort of jump in? And then what would be some of the biggest lessons that you learned that you think that they would benefit from hearing?
Okay. So say it one more time for me.
The first question is, if someone's listening to this and they are where you were, they are thinking about taking that leap of faith. What did you say to yourself to take that leap of faith? Let's start there.
Okay. For me, I just said, do it. You're gonna be happy. Just do it. And and I did, and it was difficult. It was really difficult starting. I won't lie. It is difficult starting out. People don't know you, trying to be seen, not having booked uh not having full books, and it was definitely a learning game starting out. Like I knew a lot of organization, corporate, I knew spreadsheets, I knew accounting. I knew the basics behind business, but implementing to get out to the people outside was more difficult. I knew how to have great customer service. I learned that through corporate and how important, interacting and making people feel good, special, heard, and understood. And knowing to say, I'm not sure, but I will find out. And that kind of helped me through where I wasn't sure about a lot of things, but there's enough books out there, Google's there, Chat GPT now, and oh my God, if I had Chat GPT back then. And yeah, so I just feel like it's challenging, but if it brings you that light and that joy, do it.
So it sounds like, and I think a lot of people with talents or service-based businesses start off with, I have a skill set and I'm going to provide that skill set, but it's not, I don't know how to run a business. I don't know necessarily all the other aspects of that. So how did you learn those things? What would you credit? Trial and error? Are there some books or specific things that you watched or learned?
Well, I guess for me, I got an accounting book just to make sure I was doing all of my accounting for dummies, or money for dummies. I think that's what it was. And I also worked with Dermalogica back in the day. And when they had their original owner, I had to pay in, but I got over 1,000 hours of education that was free with part of my retail. And that was the most valuable thing. Having all of that extra knowledge really just made me feel confident and okay with asking for prices that I was asking for. And I think for me, I struggled mostly with pricing myself in the beginning because I felt like an imposter.
Oh,
And who
yeah.
am I to ask somebody to pay me this much money for something I'm just starting out doing? And it took me, I mean, I'm not year 8, and now I'm like, yeah, this is my cost. I am double, triple actually what I had started out. And I am, I have people who are paying it. And it's not just because um, I'm asking, it's because they see results. And I have people come back regularly. And one of the nicest things I have people say to me is that, I almost fell asleep. For me, how can you fall asleep in front of somebody you don't trust, you don't like, you don't know, all that stuff? And so for me, when people tell me that they're almost fell asleep or they fell asleep snoring, I love to hear somebody snore. It
Yes,
it just brings me joy.
that's success. It's your gauge of success. I've relaxed you enough. You trust me enough for you to fall asleep. No, that's wonderful. So would you say that it sounds like that program kind of was like having like a coach? Did you have people that you could reach out to after watching a video to ask for personal support along with that program?
No, but I was able to take additional classes or retake the same class if I wanted to. But it was such a blessing that I had that opportunity, and I wish that they had something like that for nails or for massage. But I mean, I do massage. You can learn different modalities and stuff like that through massage from classes, and so those are nice to have. I'm hoping to find some more. Nails is a newer service that I am offering. So I'm still trying to get more education, get more knowledge, just so that I feel as successful with nails as I did with skin.
Yeah. I think ongoing education is important for all of us. I also think that you touched upon a point that a lot of people need to hear or discuss or admit to, which is the self-worth equals price, right? How much we like the imposter syndrome piece, and because it's real. And so, how did you overcome that and start charging what you now think you're worth?
For me, it was just growing in the fact that I had the knowledge, I've done the education, I've done the work, and now it was just, it's okay for people to say, no, thank you, or that's too much. That's okay. You're not for me. And it had to come from the you're not for me, I'm not for everyone. I understand that. I am a love or hate kind of person. I feel like people either love me or they hate me. And it's just because I'm very outspoken or I'm opinionated. And I want everybody to understand me. And sometimes it just becomes a little bit difficult when you are still trying to figure out who you are.
Definitely. And you're only 8 years in. So you got time. We're all right. And we're never in some of my other groups that I run, I do like life coaching for a better word. It's not really, it's so much different than that. But like the healing and the lessons and the growth. And the reality of it is we're human and we're never going to stop growing or having lessons. And as business owners, yeah, forget that. You're never, it's like you're on the ride and the ride's going to change based on the economy, like what happened in 2020. So how did you handle what happened during 2020?
I was lucky that my husband was a teacher and he was able to continue to work because I was out of work for 2 years. You'd get the message you can work, and then I'd try to get all the clients in, and then the next day you couldn't work. And it was definitely a big challenge, but it gave me the opportunity to reflect on who I am and to change the way that I did business. I did business the way I feel like my boss or bosses had done business. Very strict, very attention to detail, very short, and I didn't want to be that. And I felt that in my business. I was asserting myself, but it was more confrontational. And I didn't want that to be who or what I was. And so COVID gave me the opportunity to take time to self-reflect and really work on my journey, get a therapist, work through it because 2 weeks into COVID, we were in a small place and we were getting to each other. I flipped a table, a little end table. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, this is a problem, Cece. You just flipped a table. It was an end table, but it was still a table. There was nothing on it, but it was still a table. And I was like, no, no, Cece, I think you're the problem and we need to turn that in and work on you. And I really feel like it was a blessing in disguise for me personally, because I really got to focus and work on myself. And our relationship at home is so much healthier, so much better than what it was when I took that time to really reflect and say, Cece, you're the problem.
Personal responsibility is the only choice we have to make anything different. If we blame other people, then we never change and they never change. So it's a lose-lose situation. I'm always a fan of if you can take personal responsibility for everything you attract and from every level, even if it doesn't make any sense to you, at least it gives you something to do about it versus the blame game is toxic and it doesn't make anyone feel empowered or good about themselves, and it makes other people villains, and it's a cycle that we can't break. So congratulations for surviving COVID and for having it be something that many ways helped change and shape and sculpt the business that you have now and the way that you deliver it. So that's amazing. Final question for those that are out there. So, especially in your field with the beauty, because I remember going to my hairdresser's house. I was like the only person that she would see. Like I went because she's kind of like family. So she's like, okay, I'll do you at my house, right? Because it was like I felt like drug dealers, like the hair industry were and the massage industry is like you had to like be hush hush because you weren't allowed to go to somebody's house. And all of us like, well, what am I gonna do with my hair? Like I can't go that long without someone helping me out. For those that were bucking the system, so to speak, or deciding that they were gonna feel into what was right for them. That is a hard time to get through. And it leveled a lot of businesses. It leveled a lot of businesses that are service-based businesses, restaurants. I mean, I know some people never recovered from that. But not only does it sound like you recovered, you're in a better place. You're in a clearer place. So for those who we hopefully will never experience that again necessarily in our lifetime, even though it had, good and bad to it. What would be some advice that you would have for someone who's listening who is going through a hard time right now in their business and they're a solopreneur, they're a service provider? Like, what keeps you going? What makes you stay the course? And even when you're having a bad day or a slow month?
Honestly, the Ventura County businesswoman, like I have made so many connections and friendships from that it has given me that support that I needed in the back to continue to make me feel like you've got this. It's okay that this isn't working out right now. Having that support behind you with people who are like-minded or in the same place, it's so powerful to help you go forward.
So, if you're listening to this and you're part of the Ventura County Businesswomen, thank you for being part of the community. And if you're not, because you don't live anywhere near Ventura County in the world and you're in some other country, I think the message is be in community, get some support, find a tribe that is either on the same path or similar to you, or is a tribe that feels like you can grow with them. It's definitely part of my mission in everything that I do, whether it be business or personal development, that we find the tribes or create the tribes of people who are learning and growing because you're not going to find it in your families. Sorry. And you're not going to find it around the water cooler. And you're probably not going to find it at your church necessarily. And you're probably not going to find it even in your neighborhood. Like entrepreneurs, we're like a different breed. Like those people who are true seekers, who want more for themselves, who are interested in learning and growing. That's not the majority of people. Would we hope that it is? We would. But the fact is, it's not. So it's harder to grow when there's no one else doing what you're doing. But when you find a tribe and a group that you can, or create one. If you can't find one, make one. That's what I keep doing. I just keep making one. Now I'm here in Ojai now, and I found the Ventura County Businesswomen, and I love the theme. And Tawny has done a great job of putting that together and attracting the right energy into the group and the right expectations. So it feels very personal development along with business, which is exactly what I think is a winning combination. But if you're listening to this and you don't have that support, because it is really hard to do business. I mean, I just went to a podcasting conference, and one of my clients who started a podcast with me last year was there. I invited her because now she's a podcaster. I said, "Do you want to go?" And she felt so like, wow, because when you're podcasting, just like having a small business, you're by yourself. You don't have a staff and a building necessarily and coworkers, and you're not around people all the time. You're doing it by yourself. And so it can get lonely, and you don't have that camaraderie, and you don't have that let's talk about what just happened accessible to you right then and there. But then to kind of go to a conference and then be with other people who are doing the same thing you are, all of a sudden you feel the connection. You're like, "Oh, I'm not the only person. This isn't so lonely. I have resources. I just have to call them or reach out to them or talk with them. And they're not next to me. They don't live anywhere near me, but we can utilize what we have in front of us, Zoom, and different ways to connect to create that community and create that connection." So please, if you're listening to this and you've started a business, you're having a hard time, or you want to start a business, find a community right away. Find a networking group. Make sure it feels right for you though, because they're not all right. They're not all good feeling. And again, check meetup.com is a great place to find groups, or create your own group. I tell people, create your own group and attract the people who are looking to do the same thing you are. So any last words, Cecelia, for anyone who's listening, either about your business or being an entrepreneur, or whether let people know where they can find you in terms of your website, and if there's any other ways to contact you or follow you on social media.
Yes, so you can follow me on social media at Crowns and Hearts. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. You can also find my webpage at crownsandhearts.com. I'm in downtown Ventura. And I guess what I'd leave everybody with is all of your expensive stuff at night. All of your expensive creams, serums, and everything like that at night, because that's when our body is recharging and repairing, and we want to feed it.
Whoa, okay, great tip for everyone, no matter who you are. So that's amazing. So thank you so much, Cecile, for being on the show, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in person.
Yes. Thank you.